Okay, so yeah, Denz, you've managed to land a cybersecurity job. We were working with us, and you were part of our SOC Plus apprenticeship, formerly called the Gold community, which you were part of. So it's been great to see you going from strength to strength, and you've managed to land that job. So just to kind of get into it, then first of all, thanks again for doing this with us. But what is the job that you've landed, and what kind of things are you expected to do day to day?
Um. Anyway, thanks for the welcome and the introduction. And yeah, I think it brings back memories. I remember the goal tier. I think when you guys established the whole environment, say this is what we're trying to aim for. This is our vision.
For sure, yeah.
And yeah, and I think you're a bit skeptical. Like, is it gonna work? Is it gonna be a flop? Is it time? So on and so forth. And then obviously, there are some people that are still in the community. There's some names I remember, some faces, some new faces, some old faces, so on and so forth, and whatever. And yeah, obviously, just having a look at how the whole empirical training has improved over time. There's been some good stuff that you've added on there, of which I had to applaud you. So yeah, at least feedback has been well taken, and it's been taken on quite well. So what I do in my day-to-day task is obviously yes, classed as an ECU. So obviously, for people that don't know, an ECU is end use is it end user computing or computer engineer or whatever, ECU engineer, that's what they call it, whatever. So technically what that is like you're just pretty much, it's in between service desk and infrastructure. That's the best way to
Right,
put it.
okay,
It just
nice.
de- it just depends on how the job description is and how the business unit works within the environment they work in. So if you're an MSP, you'd be a jack of all trades. You'd be the infra guy, you'd be the service desk guy, you'd be the cyber guy, you'd be the infosec guy, you'd be the guy that I just work with a senior exec that does, the non-technical stuff, boring stuff. So that's what the role entails in itself. But the role in itself is quite complex because it's fully hands-on. Because obviously
Mm.
the industry and sector that I'm in obviously requires a bit of um, security clearance slash elevation to have access to different systems and other different projects and whatever due to the sensitivity of materials that will come across and whatever. So at the moment we're pretty much doing the Windows 10 or Windows 11 upgrade, obviously because it's being phased out at the minute. So with a lot of people being off, over the summer period and all that malarkey,
Mm.
within the estate, I think there was close to maybe 15 or 20,000 devices, endpoint devices that were coming up as non.
A
So
lot.
yeah, that is obviously you can understand. Obviously, I was obviously being wasted away on service desk, and then I think
Mm.
the infosec guy, the way I got dragged into it was I came in to do a service desk slash you know um infrastructure role, and then the
Oh,
guys
that's
were
what they originally hired you for, was it?
yeah.
Oh, nice.
So the emphasis guys were like, "Who's this guy on service desk? Who's got every DL notes on every single ticket that gets escalated from service desk? Like, who is this guy?"
Oh, nice.
And then I'll just put in as much information on there. So like, this endpoint is not whatever because of this, such and such, yada yada yada. This needs looking into. There was an issue that I'm currently dealing with at the minute as I look on the laptop on my right there.
Mm.
The remediation, automated remediation that was meant to happen in the back end for user profile, that's just not happened. Intune is obviously, we use one of those old school, they use one of these old school build sticks where you plug it in and then put in command prompt and said get autopilot, yada yada yada, CMD and whatever, backslash and whatever. So obviously that failed. And then I was like, hang on a minute, the build profiles on these devices are pretty much cooked. So some of them are coming to end to life, and then obviously they're like, no, listen, this guy is wasting on it. So then the rest was history from
Oh,
there.
okay. So
So
was it within the company that you were working for before, or did you start a new role in service desk and then you kind of moved into the
yeah,
ECU
yeah,
engineer role?
yeah. Sorry, so I'll break it down. So firstly, it first started off as just a junior sock, and they were just like, you know what, on paper you look great,
Mm.
know what you're talking about. So when I went on the interview, on the interview, they said, right, okay, yeah, you seem like you've got a few evidence based portfolio. Can you talk us about this? And then it
Nice.
just came all about me talking about what I've done, what I look to do, just about basic chit chat. Then it just
Mm.
went well. Yeah, these guys have been me off, and then the rest was history, really. And
Oh,
then
okay.
what they were asking me, like, okay, how come you got this certification? How come you got that certification? Have you used anything within that certification? And then that's why I began to crumble a little bit. I was like, listen, I was saturated all over, but then I was a master, I had exposure to different things, but then it's like, but I was a master of none. So it's like, okay, pick one thing and put at it. So that's why I like sort of, streamline that for, focus on that, and then just went down that direction really. And then
Nice.
I
And
think the
what were
rest
the
is sort of,
what were the main things that you
sorry.
focused on? What were the main things that you focused on that you felt that helped you stand out, would you say?
I think one of the main things was like exposure to what it's like to work within that in an infosec blue team environment sort of thing, because they're
Nice.
like, hang on, how can picture that on service desk that deals with password research, Outlook profile research, and all this malarkey knows about, okay, how you conduct, like we one of the customers we look after, they nearly got hit with a BEC attack, because obviously with the different threat vectors or landscape, threat vectors that are currently happening at the moment. So due to my vigilance, I was like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And then pick that one up, and then obviously on my detailed notes before I escalated it to the infosec team, they're like, yeah, this is a well detailed report, because all the infosec guy did was
Oh,
just
nice.
copy and
Yeah.
paste job.
Oh, okay.
So
So
like, yo,
they
hang on a minute. Yeah.
nice. So yeah, they managed to see your case notes, which showed that you had that knowledge in infosec and cybersecurity, and then from there, then they kind of picked you out for, I guess, kind of like a promotion or a new
Yeah,
role.
yeah.
Was
It
it? Oh, nice. That's
was
sick.
more or less it's like, you're wasting yourself over here. You need to be on the dark side type of thing, and then the rest is history, really. So yeah, that's the best way to
Okay.
put it.
No, that's fantastic. So in terms of like the journey that you went through, so you obviously UK and worked with us, but what were the other things that you found were key to allowing you to like gain that knowledge? You mentioned some certifications there, but are you able to explain your journey through IT and then now into cybersecurity and some of the things that just helped you along the way?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to break it down without waffling too much, but then again, condense so much in a very short period. So my background in itself counts up to, I'll probably say, being in tech, what, say 12, 13 years.
Right, yeah,
And
nice.
then within that, okay, went to university, dropped out, didn't work out for me. I thought, right, okay, I'm gonna try another uni. Went to another uni. You know what you do in uni, play hard
Yeah.
and then start like, when you, so that was hard.
The,
Then I
the
thought,
student
oh,
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, do something myself. What happens when I'm in my 30s or my 40s? I'm not gonna look back at all the good memories that got later on. Student night.
Yeah.
So from there, it just I, I couldn't find my feet, because I was like, I was always interested in cyber, but then it just never worked out. For my mindset was not. I was ready for it, but my mindset was not really there, because you can be anticipate yourself for it and amp yourself for it, but then psychologically, if your mind is not in it, you won't have the mental endurance to actually be in a position to actually persevere it, because
Mm,
some days are like, what the heck am I actually doing? And then
yeah.
eventually, so then went on to, what did I do after that? Jesus, I'm taking 10 years ago now. Then after that, I started off doing an apprenticeship. Obviously, some people call it an internship, or
Mm,
however you want to call it. And then from there, when I had hands-on experience, when everything was on-prem back then, if you went to a data center, you knew what a data center was, you know what a rack server was,
mm,
had to know what RAD 1 is, RAD 2, so on and so forth. And, the difference between the two redundancies, and, if everything was fully hands-on. So then by the time you left your apprenticeship, you're like fully, service desk, infosec, such and such and so on and so
mm.
forth. And I thought, hang on,
Nice.
this is so. And then the rest was history, really. And then prior from that, I was 5 years deep now. I was, doing permanent roles. So for, hang on, I want as much experience, but without actually making it look like I'm job hopping. That's when I discovered contracting or consultancy. Was
Yeah. And that contracting was still kind of IT management or IT service desk or
yeah, yeah.
more kind of
It was more or less IT service desk. But then I wanted to try
nice.
different niches and different industries, because different sectors have got different. If you work in local government, yeah, some budgets may be, there may be limited budgeting for the IT department. Maybe finance gets the biggest chunk, or HR gets the biggest chunk, or
Mm,
level, executive level. They only say, okay, right, IT only gonna get 100 grand, but then when you look at your 365, suite, and like your licenses, and your third party that manages your if it's your MSPs, or maybe use Softcar for your IT inventory, it's a whole different story. So that's a whole different conversation for another day. So I thought
Yeah.
for contracting, and then that's how I started working in different industries. So that gave me different exposures, obviously private equity companies, law firms, banks, um housing associations, so on and so forth, and some others that I've not even listed on my personal profile. So that in itself gave me so much exposure within a very short limited time without actually job hopping, if that makes sense. So if you're in a
Yeah,
permanent,
nice.
that would leave you in a situation where like a hiring manager look at your profile and say, hang on, Denz, you're here 3 months, then here 6 months, but then I'm like, yeah, but I've been contracted for that long. So then it put me at a pedestal where I wanted to be, to like, okay, this is how different business
Nice.
units do work. And then that put me on an advantage, because it's like, yes, they're looking for somebody who's got maybe 4 or 5 years experience within, let's say, law firm background, or someone who knows how file management or case management
Mm.
systems. You do have that exposure, because if you're in a perm role, you have to minimally stay there maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then you would have those 2 years that I would have stayed in a role. I could have been contracted. Maybe I would have done 5 contracts or whatever within those
Yeah,
24.
nice.
So that's looked at it as like, I suppose, to like, okay, just having to like apply myself, and it turned out for the best, really, because there's some roles that I feel, what the heck am I doing here? And there's some that I learned quite a lot from that, for should have kept on. But then again, if you're a contractor, you don't know, like, you've got an expiry type of thing. So yeah.
No, that's great. So you definitely learned a lot through the contracting as well, and I think the job hopping part there is, a real good point. Like you said, if a hiring manager looks at your CV and
Yeah.
then they see that you've job top, they're going to kind of flag that up. Or if you do that as a consultant, then you can still get the experience from different companies, but then look to still move to other companies as well. So yeah, that's a really great point. That is. So where did the interest in cybersecurity come from? What drive was pushing you from more of the IT area into cybersecurity?
Do you know what? It's a funny thing you actually asked that, because I remember when it was induction, when I went to university, right? And
Mm.
just asking, oh, what do you want to be when you graduate? Everyone's like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a banker, I want to be a barrister. I just, obviously, I'm just, if you know me in my personal life, I'm quite outspoken. I just
Mm.
said, I want to learn how people run banks. And then everyone just burst out laughing in the room. And then my lecturer said, no, there's actually jobs that you can actually learn how to hack. I said, I want to learn how they hack banks and whatever. So everyone just laughed at me, said, this guy's crazy, whatever.
Oh, okay.
So and then I said, oh, what sort of jobs can you do? So I was very intrigued, and to this very day,
Mm.
I've got, when you join university, right, and they give you like a journal, like a little, I don't know. I went to Huddersfield Junior, right? They give you like this little
Mm.
blue, whatever. Said University of whatever, and then I had my notes. I'm like, how to hack computers? What's peer to peer? What's ABCD? So I was just intrigued. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
okay, nice.
this is what's what. Okay, this is how a mesh network works. This is what peer to peer is. This is what you know.
Nice.
These are what vulnerabilities are under what port. This
Oh,
port number.
okay, nice. Yeah.
I was like, right, okay, so this is what you can do. And then from there, it all began from, I was like, right, I remember I was staying at my mom's at the time. She
Mm.
had this old Dell PC, right? It was like I think it was Windows XP, and it was so bad, right? The only thing that me and my little brother used to use it for was to play Airstrike or whatever. AOL, yeah, when it was American Online, I remember it very well. So we used to play that, and it was a proper dial-up. And I thought, I went on YouTube, and then I was like, right, okay, you need to download this application. So downloaded, I think it was like Backtrack back then, now,
Mm.
which is Linux now. And I remember I installed the whole thing on my mom's actual device, right? Without using a VM, and it absolutely cooked the whole device. And I was like, yeah, I'm only soon. But then obviously that's where it all began. I was like, right, okay, I need to get a powerful machine. And then that's how, as I progressed on in my career, and I thought, right, okay, these are the contingency plans I'll use moving forward to ensure that obviously I don't go down that whatever. And then I thought, okay, there's actually ethic ways of doing things without actually breaking the law and whatever. Then obviously I started reading about what website do I still look it up today. It's called Hackers News. To this very day, I still.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love the Hacker News. That's
So
where you go to get your news articles and stuff, is it?
yeah, you get your news articles. I was like, okay, what
Yeah.
latest hackers happen? Okay, who's stolen what crypto? Who's robbed what banks? So I was like, that's what I was always interested in. So it
Oh,
kept me up
nice.
to head. Like, they did this user, social engineering. They use this using publishing. They use this, back then there was Trojans, then there was virus, and then obviously ransomware wasn't even a thing then. Now ransomware is the biggest thing, threat vector there is at the minute. So it's just about, then that's how we. Hello,
Hello,
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, it's just the camera's dropped off.
No, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, so it just obviously just dropped into like one rabbit hole, then one into another, then one into another. Then I thought, hang on a minute. So I was like, okay, I knew so much about like it got to the point because I didn't understand the difference between offensive security and the opposite purple teaming and so on and so forth. And then I thought, hang on a minute. I think for you to be a good, offensive,
Mm.
you gotta understand how to defend it as well. So it's also great knowing how to defend something, but you also, like obviously like what I think Josh did mention, the red team only make the blue team better. So at the end of the day, it's like it's come to introduce you where you know what's what, and what meets other merit on both on both sides as well. So yeah, and
Yeah, for
then
sure.
really, yeah. So
No, that I think that is quite a natural progression for most people, isn't it? They start in the red team, like the hacking is always seen as really cool, and it's always something
yeah,
that people want to do. You want to, like you said, you want to learn how people
yeah,
hack into banks, but people may have laughed, but that is exactly what the blue teamers tried to do. They tried to understand what the hackers are doing so that we
yeah,
can be better defenders. So yeah, look,
yeah,
I'm glad that you finally moved into the cybersec and infosec world after enjoying it for so long. And yeah, it can really show as well, like your keen interest in it definitely shows that your knowledge goes back that far as well, which is really cool. So in terms of, you did mention some certifications. Is there specific ones that you've done that you think helped you the most?
um, this one I don't. Yeah or no? I'm gonna give my reasons to why. To why, right? I think
Yeah.
having gone through what I went through, because I was like dead eager. I was like, right, okay, yes, my CV is great.
Mm.
Evidence portfolio is great. It looks good on whatever. It can be ATS and so on and so forth and whatever. And after going through vigorous interviews, and I realized like there's so much noise out there in the industry. That's one key take I can take from that.
Mm.
Certification is one thing, and then being interviewed by somebody who's technical and does the role is one thing, and then
Mm.
obviously having to impress the hiring manager is also another. So what you tend to find is like with all the noise, like okay, yes, just do you like when I look at the gender neutrals, like the CompTIAs, shit
Yeah.
on Com. They've got some amazing labs and whatever. It's like okay, you need hands-on experience. How do you create hands-on experience? Yes, you can create your evidence-based portfolio, but then each businesses it could be they may use AWS, they may use Splunk,
Mm.
they may use Elastic, they may use Sentinel, and obviously some of these environments don't come cheap. So it's like okay,
Yeah.
what for you to do that? So it's like to somebody who's aspiring to jump into the industry, it's like okay, am I going to be badge collecting, right, or am I going to have an evidence-based portfolio? So you got to find the right balance, sort of thing. But then as long as you can articulate yourself and have the right vernacular to like, right, okay,
Mm.
I'm not really in the industry as of yet, but I've taken the initiative effort to like understand, okay, some of the concepts that come in the AC 200 or the SC 900. I've done some, measure up labs that, that can signify my theoretical exposure to what I currently on the current. Even if somebody, if I was signing an interview panel and somebody mentioned that, I said fair play, fair play for trying, because at the end of the day, you're investing free time knowingly, like yes, just to land your foot in the door. And I remember I remember back then in the in
Like
the board
community.
here. Yeah. And I think Robbie did mention something. He said, "Yeah, you have to hold yourself accountable," and that was
Mm.
to really fail, because at the end of the day, what you put in is what you get out. So minimal effort, minimal results. Maximum effort, maximum results.
Yeah,
So
for sure. No, I definitely agree with that as well, because at the end of the day, if you don't put the effort in, then you can't really expect to get anything out. And like you said, in terms of like certifications and projects, like sometimes, like you say, it doesn't always matter exactly which ones you pick. It's just putting it towards the right direction. And as long as you're
yeah,
going in that right direction, then like you said, you can definitely stick at it. So yeah, no, it's good. Good that you've gone through the projects that you did as well. They obviously you found those helpful, but you are right with some of the environments, like things like AWS. They can obviously be expensive as well. So
Yeah.
out of so when you were in our community then, and formerly Gold, now called the SOC Plus Apprenticeship,
Yeah.
what do you think you valued most about that?
Oh, you wouldn't guess this, but it's the community and the togetherness. Do you know why? Let me
Mm.
tell you. Let me tell you why. On a personal level, I remember I went to the InfoSec Europe in London actually, and
Yeah.
I think was speaking on social media actually, and I messaged her, and I was like, oh, I just bumped into Josh, and that's when I realized I'm like, you know what, tech is big, but it's very small in the UK. I can promise you that. Like in Europe, like it's very very small. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And luckily enough, surprisingly, I bumped into some CISOs and some people that are quite big online and all that malarkey. And then one thing I realized and then from that is like um it's weird what you put out there. Obviously those have means and ways of actually coming back to you, because I remember when I was in the gold tier then,
Mm.
everyone was oh, how do I get into cyber? Okay, I'm just gonna do my security network plus and security plus, and then boom, I want a 6-figure salary. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. No.
Like those magic numbers don't work. And the other thing as well is like, you see, there are other platforms out there where they've got a larger following on the internet or around the world, whatever. But then what made it is like, you see, it's the consistency of trying to improve, because you guys may have been in the industry for God knows however long, but the dynamics of where it's an employer sort of market, or maybe it's whatever, and vice versa, and so on and so forth. You may look at it from one I wouldn't say non-biased perspective, but from a perspective of where, like, okay, you're already in the industry and you're only showing us the insights of what it's like, but then obviously also looking at feedback from the people that actually, okay, what is it that are you struggling with? Always willing to listen, having the one-to-ones, the checking in calls, so on and so forth. To some people, they normally would say, you know what, for a free consultation call, yeah, that's a good $100 or £100, whatever. In this, cost of living, who's got £100 like that? So it's like, that type of thing. And obviously, with the power of the internet, I mean, you could be based wherever you are in the world, and then someone would just look at your video, oh, I've seen something, whatever. And just going off topic as well, just off that, I remember my PC fried up, and I remember I was trying to go through trying to install Spider. I was running through an awesome project I was working on, and I thought, hang on a minute, how the hell did I install Spider4? And then just running your videos, I'm like, yeah, Carly on Beach Passports dropped on, just as simple as that. Because I remember, like, yeah, Age is he's the guy for that, and he was the guy for that. Same thing with Security Onion when I tried to install it, because I remember the very first early days when we tried to, I think, trying to install Sec Onion.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, that was one of the projects that we had was Security Onion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and obviously that wasn't smooth. I'm sure you can testify to that. So that in itself, and I was like, let me go back to the archive. So just the sheer size of the community, and then obviously, I remember there was a time when you did, I think when you did a live when you had a recruiter.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, and then obviously I think that was one of the most engaging, where like, where you went far and beyond. You didn't have to. I mean, like I said, it's quite difficult to get somebody, some tech professionals that know what they're doing, but then also have an insight to what recruiters are looking for. I mean, you can get a CV writer to write your CV, but then again, is it what somebody like me who's technical, or somebody yourself who's technical, just said, oh,
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm self-sufficient, and then I can write correlation rules and so on and so forth, take whatever, so on and so forth, to be like, all right, can you produce me a KQL query to run such and such? And you're like, well, what's that? What's crystal querying language? So just even the small basics and whatever. So that in itself, it's gone a long way. And obviously I can see the improvements have been made. And that's one thing I can take from that. The labs are one thing and the projects or whatever, but then it's just the sheer size of it, because everyone is willing to help one another. Even if the question is silly, somebody be like, you know what, I seen you struggling with such and such. There's some people that are a lot smarter than I am. A lot of people that are smarter than.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and that's one of the things that I've noticed in the community as well, that you get everybody else who's kind of got the shared goal, and they're actively trying to help others who are struggling with projects, who are struggling with different areas that they're working on. And that's one benefit again that we've seen, and I'm glad that you've picked up on it, because it's something that people tend to forget about, is the togetherness, and how working towards that one goal as a group can definitely help you get there faster. So in terms of the community, then, would you say that you definitely would recommend it to people looking to get into cybersecurity?
Yeah, it's a good starting point, but I would also advise people, because you see sometimes people would have the misconception like, right, okay, I'm investing so much, such and such and such. There are so many platforms out there, people doing their own thing, whatever. And I always tell people, say, you know what, before you invest your hard-earned money, whatever, I think it's like, make your mind up. Is it something I see myself doing? Invest in my free
Yeah,
time.
for sure.
If you're a family man, or you got husband duties, or you got your grandparent, or whatever, what sort of walk of life you come from. Because let me tell you, even still now, I still sometimes see on YouTube till after clock hours, and trying to catch up with this, and so, because obviously our line of work is forever evolving. The threats, hackers don't sleep. So why should you, as somebody on the on the other side, be able to be doing otherwise? But yeah, it is something that I'll definitely recommend, because yeah, believe it or not, like I said, Josh being a salesperson, he sold me on. I can't remember how many years ago that was. That was moons ago. Met my conference, networking conference as well. Like I said, the tech sector is small. It's a big community, but small at the same time. And then the rest has been history since then. So even some of the stuff we spoke about in private as well, I was interested in some DFR stuff, and then obviously you did send out some material for me. And obviously, with that being said, I've obviously, that's the end goal, where I sort of, see myself like, okay, become a, security researcher. And yeah, I
Oh,
think
nice.
when obviously my knees do, fall off, and said, right, this is where I sort of, see myself. And, it's giving me like a trajectory, like, okay, this knowledge and skill has to come for something. So yeah, it's, put me, been doing a lot of reading, a lot of research, and some more advanced, tools and techniques on, certain things. Obviously, can't really speak about stuff on here,
Yeah.
but yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's
if you do become a security researcher, it'd be a good full circle after people were laughing at you saying that you wanted to understand how hackers hack into banks. So it's it'd be a good full circle, and yeah, you'd be an excellent security researcher as well. I could imagine you doing that. Well, yeah, Denz, like I said, I appreciate you joining this call, and it's been really great to see you get to where you've got to, and yeah, would love to help you continue after that. So I'm glad that you're still in the community at the moment as well. So if there is anything that we can always help you with, you always know where we are. But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to jump on this call with me.
all good anytime.
And yeah, I want to say thanks for taking the time. And we'll go ahead and end it here now. But we'll continue talking after. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, no problem, no
So
problem.
thanks for watching this interview with Denz about how he went from IT to cybersecurity. It was really great working with him and seeing his journey getting into cybersecurity, and he's done a fantastic job to be able to do that. Now, if you think that you want to try and get into cybersecurity but you don't know where to start, then you can work with me and my team and jump on a free career strategy call, and we'll build out a step-by-step plan, exactly what you need to get into cybersecurity, reduce the overwhelm, because you'll just have this one plan, stick to it, and it's proven to help people to get into cybersecurity without any experience. If you want access to that, then you can apply in the description, fill in your details, apply for one of those calls, and you could end up on a call and end up in a situation just like Denz. So I want to say thank you for watching. Now, if you want to listen to another interview with somebody that we helped named Georgina, and she landed a job within 5 months of working with us, landed a job without any experience. She was actually a mechanical engineer and landed a job as a cybersecurity information security analyst. If you want to go and watch that video, head over here, and I'll see you over there. Thanks.